Hi guys, and welcome to the Panther Products team's first ever How to Use Your Computer for Dummies. So in this video we're going to be showing you how to set up a brand new PC that you've just bought and what to do. So we're going to be looking at accounts and setting up usernames and passwords for different users that you may want to add to your systems. So why you may want to use this is for if you have children or teenagers that you want to set up an account for and limit access to, then you can do so that they don't ruin your PC. So we're going to use this as an example. This is going to be, for all intents and purposes, a brand new computer. We've just bought it and I'm going to show you step by step how to set up a user account. Now this is running on Windows 7, so if you do have an earlier version, some things may seem different. However, most of the options should appear in the same format. If you're really struggling, then please put a comment down and we will sort it out. I'll also stop for 30 seconds so that you may take notes and anything that you want to jot down. Occasionally I'll give you time to write everything down step by step so that you don't forget it. Or alternatively, just rewind this video and you'll be able to see step by step how to do everything. So when you first get your PC and you plugged it in and it's all connected to, and the monitor's all okay and hooked up, you turn it on for the first time, you log in, you shouldn't have a password straight away, I wouldn't have thought, but you should get your main screen like this. So let's say you want to add your children's account and you want to be able to limit their access so that they don't ruin your new PC, or you want to limit how many games they can play or what times they can use the computer, etc, etc. So we're going to hit on the start button here. Again, it might look different if you're using an earlier version of Windows, and we want to head over to the control panel here. If you click that, then a list will appear here, and you want to go over to users accounts and family safety. So we want to add a user account, so we're going to hit the add and remove user accounts. Now as you can see, this is the account that was already set up, so I've just changed the name to Neo Angelo because that's my name and that's what I use to log into most things, and we're going to create a new user. Now you can turn the guest account on. This will just limit people or allow a user to log in without a username or password, but will be limited to certain things. I wouldn't worry too much about a guest account at this moment. So we're going to head down to create new account and click it. So now we're going to type the name of this new account. So for all intents and purposes, I'm going to call this account Bob. This option down here you can either set as a standard user. So a standard user account, users can use most software and change system settings that do not affect other users or the security of the computer. If you want Bob to be able to be an administrator, administrators have complete access to the computer and can make any desired changes based on notification settings. Administrators may be asked to provide their password or confirmation before making changes that affect other users. So we recommend that you protect every account with a strong password. So we're going to use the standard user account for this creation because if you have children, you don't want them messing about with the computer, deleting files that may be important. So we're going to leave it as a standard account at the moment. So let's create this account by clicking on create account. Now as you can see, Bob has been created. If we click Bob, you get a list of options that you can change the account name, create a password, change the picture, set up parental controls, change the account type, delete this account, or manage another account. So we're going to change the picture so that Bob looks a little bit more personal. So if we click on the change the picture, you get a selection of pictures that come with the computer already. So Bob's quite a manly Bob. He's a teen, so he likes his football, so we're going to change and use the football icon. So if we click on the football icon and click change picture, Bob has now got a picture taken here and it's a football. So whenever you see the user account Bob, it will have a football symbol next to it. Now I'm going to give you 30 seconds to write some notes and then we'll carry on to the next part. Okay, I hope you've got the notes that you wanted. If you need any more time, just pause the video at any point and we'll carry on from now. So now we've set up Bob's picture and we've got an account for Bob, we want to set up some parental controls. Now in Windows 7 it's pretty easy. All you need to do is go down to the options, set up parental controls. If we click this, we'll be taken to an option. We can either add parental controls to Bob or any other account that's currently being created on your computer. So we're going to want to add parental controls to Bob. So if we click Bob, set up how Bob will use the computer. So parental controls is currently set as off. We want to turn this on, so just click the little radio dial here and it will turn the settings for parental control on. Now if you want to limit Bob so that he can only use the computer at a certain time, you can do by clicking the time limits. So we're going to do this by clicking the time limits here, and you can set what day and what hour you want Bob to be able to use the computer. So say for instance you want to allow your children to use the computer up until 7 PM at night. So you're going to go to 19 and just click and hold and drag a box all the way down from Monday down to Sunday and click it so that these cells are highlighted in blue. This will mean that Bob will only be able to use the computer between the hours of midnight and 7 PM. So we want to change this a little further and block the use of the computer overnight. So we're going to click from Monday in box 00 and just drag all the way down to the bottom till 10 o'clock. This will mean that Bob will only be able to access the computer from 10 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night. If you're happy with that, then click OK. And this will now show us on in the time limit section over here. So now we want to limit Bob with the amount of games he can play and what rated games that he's allowed to play on. So if we click on the games section, can Bob play games? Yes, he can. You can either set this to yes or no depending on if you want your user to be able to play games or not. So in this case we're going to click yes. So block or allow games by a rated content type. So we're going to set the game ratings option. Now this is a list of EU regulated games for the sort of PEGI 3+, Universal, BBFC. It gives you a list of all the sort of universal game ratings for America and the EU. So if you want to limit Bob to be able to only play games with a rating of 3+, then you click the games 3+. This will mean that Bob will only be able to play games that are PEGI rated 3+ and higher, and will not be able to play 18s, 16s, 15s, 12s, PGs, PEGI 7s and Universal. So this will mean that Bob can only play games for ages 3 and that's about it. So we want Bob to be able to play anything up to age 12. So we're going to click on the 12 option and this will highlight all of these, which will mean that Bob can be able to play anything rated 12, PG, 7, Universal or PEGI 3+. Once you're happy with that, you can click OK, and then that will sort that out. So now you can go into a further option and go for block or allow any game on your computer by name. So you can block or allow specific games, and it will give you a list of games that are already installed on your computer. Any games that you do install further on that support this option will appear here. So you can either limit the access that Bob can use the game by user rated setting, or you can always allow them or always block a game. So just for intents and purposes, we're going to stop Bob from playing solitaire because he's a bit of a gambling addict. So we can click on this radio dial here as always block. This will mean that Bob will not be able to play solitaire no matter how many tries or attempts he tries to do it. He just will not be able to play that. However, he will be able to play all the other games depending on the game rating. So we're going to click OK on this, and then we're going to click OK. This will now mean that Bob has one game blocked, and the game ratings that Bob will be able to play is up to PEGI 12 plus or BBFC 12 plus. So now, if you want to limit the user to specific programs, we can allow and block specific programs here. So if we click this, Bob can use all programs, or Bob can only use programs I allow. So we want to limit Bob to the programs that he can use so that he doesn't get onto things that he shouldn't. So if we click on the radio dial for Bob can only use the programs I allow, the list will be populated with all currently installed software that you've got on your computer, and you can choose what games or things that he may or may not be able to view. So let's limit Bob not to be able to use FrostWire, not be able to use Audacity, and he doesn't want to use Flife or the news or uninstall or updater for program FlyFF. Let's also limit Bob just for intents and purposes, and an example, we will limit him to not being able to use iTurbo and the uninstall. This can be quite useful if you find programs populated with an uninstall option. If you don't want your user to uninstall anything on your computer, you can just select the uninstall functions. So for instance, let's just find one as an example. Now I think I saw one a bit further up, so we'll just have a look there. So there we go. So we'll go iTurbo and uninstall exe. So if you want user Bob to be able to use iTurbo, we'll just uncheck it and just click the uninstall exe so that Bob cannot uninstall that program. So that would mean that Bob would be allowed to uninstall but would not be able to use the iTurbo. So we want it the other way around, so we're going to just swap them over, and we want Bob to be allowed to use Steam. I think I got a bit mixed up there. So if you want the users, anything that is checked, Bob will be able to use. So anything that is unchecked, Bob will not be able to use. So we want to allow Bob to use all those and all them. So we don't want Bob to be able to uninstall anything. So we'll make sure that the uninstall ones are unticked. So once you're happy with all the programs that you want to set up Bob to be able to use, hit the OK button, and now program limitations is now set to on. So once you're happy with everything, if you click OK, Bob is now set up and limited to whatever it is that you set Bob to be limited to. This will mean that Bob cannot use the computer between the hours of 7 and 10 overnight, and it will mean that Bob will be limited to the programs that you was selected, and it will also mean that Bob cannot play games that are rated above PEGI 12. Now I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned something. If you do have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments section and I'll get back to you as soon as possible, or maybe one of the community will be able to help as well should I not be able to answer the question if I get too many, sort of thing. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a like, please subscribe to us if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video of how to learn the computers for dummies. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.